Hey everyone, once again, welcome to the Breakfast Club. I'm Sword Sage. Please forgive how late this video is. I know this was supposed to go up yesterday. I'm learning a new software program to make videos. The one that I normally use no longer works, so I've had to make do with what I have. It's working okay, but I still need to figure out its nuances. It's a little tricky for me to use. But let's get on with it. This particular week's round robin caught me a bit by surprise. I was expecting something, a little more political and philosophical, I guess. And basically, in some ways, this still is, but it's more personal. And I think I was taken aback by, the personal nature of these videos, of this particular round robin. But I like it, and I wanted to jump right in on it. For those of you who haven't seen the topic for this week, of course, the link is in the description. Go That Funk basically asked us 7 particularly personal, deep questions, and we're supposed to pick at least 2 of them to answer. I'm not going to go over all 7. Again, go back to the video if you haven't seen them yet, but 3 of them in particular appeal to me, and I'm going to try to answer them as concisely as I can. And these 3 are: have I ever had an epiphany? If I could end one of the following worldwide, what would it be and why? Hunger, disease, war, or political corruption? And what was the most reckless thing I've ever done, and what were the consequences of that? The other questions did intrigue me, by the way. To Paul for asking it. The only reason why I'm not answering those is either I couldn't really think of a good answer, or it was something that I am not willing to discuss right now in this particular venue. Maybe in private some other time, but not here. Sorry. But I think the 3 that I picked are good enough, so let me just jump right into it. First, have I ever had an epiphany? Yes. And I mean yes exactly in the way that you described. Something life-changing where I could not go back. Okay. Ever since I was a kid, I've noticed that I've been called rebellious a lot. By my father in particular, who was very strict in bringing up kids. And that line tended to bother me. Because I thought that, I grew up a pretty polite kid. Granted, kids, break rules all the time. When going with parents say don't eat, don't touch the candy. You sneak around and grab it. Don't play video games. I'm gone. As soon as they're gone, you go and turn. I mean, I wasn't like, a straight up troublemaker. Like, I followed the rules in general. I was polite around other adults. I was a bit of an introvert growing up in school. I was a bit more extroverted around, where I lived in my neighborhood, but not by much. Mostly I was a kid who kept to himself and had my head in books. Especially I was that way in high school. And so being called rebellious kind of like, why? I don't get it. In my teenage years, of course, I was hearing that a lot more, and then, of course, well, you're a teenager, and it's like, F you, dad, all this type of crap. And, yeah, that's the sort of thing you expect. The parents, man, really kid. And again, I never did any, it's not like I was committing crimes or anything like that. I just clashed with my dad. That's what happens in teenage years. Things happen. We're better now. But then I started hearing this in college. Not necessarily in a negative way. But people were like, man, you're one rebellious bastard. When I was talking, about corruption in government or organized religion or things like that. And I'm like, well, I'm not all that rebellious. This is like, if they would just simply come up with some better freaking rules, I wouldn't mind following them. Like, as long as rules are just and laws are just, I follow them. You don't see me running around, shooting people in the back of the head or stealing cars, do you? It's just like, just don't come up with corrupt stuff. You're like, but you seem to have a problem with authority. No, I don't. Whatever. And that went on in college. I never really could understand it. Until one day it just suddenly clicked. There were a group of friends, like, this happened like a little after I turned 30. I'd say around 31, 32-ish. There were a group of friends that me and my wife used to hang around with, every now and then, every other week or so. And we would just hang out, drink tea, shoot the shit, talk stuff, And one of the people there that we met up with, I'll call her Kay, used to always greet me as troublemaker. Like, hey, troublemaker. Like, after like, you get used to each other, I'd say about a few months, instead of going, hey, so-and-so, you got nicknames for each other. And the nickname she always picked for me was troublemaker. hey, troublemaker. And at first I didn't think much of it because I was, people got crazy nicknames, and she always had nicknames for people, like, call somebody else, hey, fancy britches, or, like, I forgot the name that she had for somebody else. But she had nicknames, but for me it was, hey, troublemaker. And one day I just decided, why do you call me that? Because I was kind of perplexed. And she just said very matter-of-factly, because you are. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? Now I was beginning to get a little worried. This is, no, it's not that you cause trouble here. It's just that when basically you cause trouble for the status quo. I notice anytime there's something that people consider normal, or there's something that's going on that you do not like, you instantly speak up about it. You instantly shake things up. So you're always challenging people's, thinking. You're always, like, what people consider to be normal or whatever, you just go in there and throw a monkey wrench into things and force people to think about it. So you're a bit of a troublemaker. You shake up the status quo. And it's when she said that it all clicked. Like, it got me thinking about that all the way home. Started thinking about my life. Yeah, I was the polite kid. Yeah, I was a bit of an introvert. But I also went to Catholic school for 9 years. And I was the type of kid who would ask, questions like, we got, commandment number 1, I'm the Lord thy God, no have no other gods before me. And you got all these statues here of saints that you pray to for stuff. What's up with that? Yeah, I was that kid. I was the kid who, I still remember 6th grade, we had a little Bible class, and then after that we had a science class right after it. And I still remember, we just read over here in Genesis that you're saying that rain comes from a firmament in the sky, a solid object, and then now we're talking about, very next thing, science class, we're learning about rain and how it comes from condensation. What's up? By the way, I always got straight A's in religion. It was one of my best subjects. Go figure. Yeah, I was that kid. High school, same thing, except now I was really beginning to debate back and forth with, different political perspectives, and especially religious perspectives, both with adults and, people my age. College, oh boy. I hung out with a political group, wrote political essays in the newspaper, and even was going to political meetings. I was going to all these different groups and asking questions that people would not be asking. And I was always asking the type of stuff that had people going, when you ask a good question when somebody is in a certain groove and they got a certain positive look on their face of, yes, I'm in control. And then you ask that question and they're like, that's when you know you should things up. And that's what I do. That's what I've done for a long time now. And now hearing her basically, kind of spell it out saying that, hey, troublemaker, that, now I get it. Now I know I'm being called rebellious because I am. This is what I do. It's not for kicks. It's not, out of some need to just see things shaken up. It's more like, when something's wrong, it just bothers me and I have to say something about it. And if that means that things need to be shaken up or toppled in order for something better to come in place, so be it. So that was my epiphany, and I cannot go back to thinking any other way. Now, next question. If I could end any of the following, what would it be and why? Hunger, disease, war, or political corruption? I think the answer is obvious here. Sorry, but I have to go with the last one, political corruption. That's what I would end worldwide, if I could. And the reason why I think that is because it's the closest thing out of the list that would help to get rid of the others. Allow me to explain. Hunger, disease, and war. Disease is a bit tricky here because disease is something that you really can't do too much about. I mean, microbes are constantly evolving. You got different viruses, different bacteria, and new things popping up all the time. But the thing is, if you have a good system in place, a good human civilization system in place that actually cares for its citizens, you will find a way to deal with it efficiently. You don't have people, trying to take advantage of it for financial gain or limit who has access to care. You can help to mitigate the disease. It won't necessarily get rid of it, but you would take care of it a lot better than what's going on right now. A good example I can give, for instance, is AIDS. AIDS is something that's ravaged people all over the world. We have taken great strides, in the medical field to deal with this disease. And now we have new treatments that people back in the 80s could never have dreamed of, where they can live a long period of time with it. Here's the thing. Good number of people don't have access to this treatment. There are people still dying of AIDS all the time, having very short lives, simply because they cannot have access to the care at all. And it's usually some dumb freaking political reason, and that political reason also stems from corporate reasons. I ain't got enough money for it, let them die. Get rid of political corruption, that would help to mitigate that. Hunger, same thing. There is plenty of freaking food on this planet for people to eat. If there was a caring system in place, there would be no reason for people not to have access to that freaking food. War. Do I even need to explain? Do I even need to explain how political corruption can help to cause unnecessary wars around? You get rid of the political corruption, or what can help make that corruption go corrupt, you will help to get rid of, or at the very least alleviate, a great deal of the other three problems. Honestly, I think it would be better to deal with just straight up greed. As the Tao Te Ching had pointed out, greed is the greatest calamity. But you can't exactly get completely rid of that, and that wasn't one of the things to pick, so political corruption. That one just seems obvious to me. Get rid of that, the others will kind of fall into place. And now, the last question, and one that I think is probably going to have the more amusing answer. What was the most reckless thing I've ever done, and what were the consequences? I'm pretty sure if I think about it, I may have done something a bit more reckless than now, but this is the thing that comes to mind right now. This is the strongest memory I have of something I've done that was completely reckless. And in my defense, I didn't really see any other way around it. Though there obviously was, but whatever. Okay. This was about, I think it was last year, the year before. We were having car trouble. Particularly the battery on my car. I needed to replace it. It was dying a little too quickly. Now I was waiting, I was budgeting, and I'm like, okay, I can't get the battery now, but I'll get it next week. So in the meantime, I'm like, just be careful with the car. You might need to jump start it. Don't leave the lights on, things like that, right? Now my wife needed to go out. I believe it was grocery shopping or something at night. Some last minute things she needed to buy. Went out there, got the stuff, went back in the car. It wouldn't start. We only have one car, by the way. So she calls me and she's like, car's not starting. Screwed. What am I going to do? Because she's like way out there. It's several miles away. And I was not going to walk all the way out there, especially since I wasn't too sure how the hell I was going to start the car up anyway. And to make matters worse, I had a battery charger kit in the back trunk, but it just wasn't holding a charge for some reason. It was kind of damaged, so it wouldn't work. So I'm like, what are we going to do? Well, thankfully, my neighbor was home. He and I help each other out all the time. I told him about it. He's like, no problem, dude. We jumped in the car, drove out there, got to the car, jump-started it, started up. This is when we knew we were in trouble, because the battery, we would, hook up the wires to the battery, the whole jump-start in the car with another car thing. And we were there like 5, almost 10 minutes, and the car still just would not hold, the battery just would not hold the charge. We're like, this is not good. We need to get this thing home. I'm not going to pay for a tow. What the hell, right? And so we figured out that even though that portable battery charger I had in the back just didn't have enough of a charge to start the car, it had enough of a charge to keep it going. Any of you guys see where this is going? So we were like, okay, charge up the car, start the car again, get it for a while, then quickly put the portable battery charger on the battery, and that should keep it going. Great, that part worked. Now we have to go home. What are we going to do? Because you can't exactly close a hood down over a battery charger and expect the hood, it's not going to close all the way. It's going to be slightly up. And I didn't have a bungee cord, and neither did he, to keep the hood strapped down. So then we're like, well, okay. Drive slow, keep your hazard lights on so that the hood doesn't come flying straight up. I'm like, I don't see any other way out of this. You know, the stores around that I can buy a cord at around here. All right, let's do this. Have I mentioned that there was a storm coming in and the winds were kind of strong? Now, I was thinking, okay, the wind's kind of blowing in the direction that I'm driving, so hopefully it won't snap the hood up. It snapped the hood. We're in the middle of the road. I'm driving fairly slow, not too slow to piss off the people behind me, and I'm on the right lane, the right lane, and hazard lights flashing, and I'm driving, and then the wind suddenly kind of just changes and swirls up, and hood just snaps right up, right in the way of my windshield. Yeah. And at this point, something snapped with me, not the car. And I was just like, all right, you know what, no. Look this. We're going home. Without skipping a beat, I'm driving, got my hands on the wheels, and the thing snaps up, and I'm like, and I just almost Dukes of Hazzard style, just kind of go like that, because the window was open, and I just go right like this, and I got my head out I told you this is one of the most reckless things I've ever done. Just go out like that, and I'm leaning now out the driver's side window to see the road as I'm driving with the hood up. Yeah. We made it home. We made it home safe. I didn't drive faster. I didn't, do anything more stupid. But I made it home. Snapped the hood down. And that's when I had to face the consequences because the wind had pushed that so hard. The hood now to this day is still raised up a bit. The hinge is a bit damaged. So now, even though when you slam the hood down, it's completely down, the back part of the hood, the part of the hood that's closest to the windshield, is still raised up a bit. So I kind of have to like pound down to keep the thing. Yeah. Not one of the smarter things I've ever done. Definitely up there as one of the most reckless. So yeah, those are the three. I hope you guys got some amusement out of it. And yeah, this has gone long enough, so catch you guys later.